And a good evening, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of RoarTime, the Columbus Lions Arena Football Coaches Show, featuring head coach, director of football operations. To my right, Jason Gibson, longtime coach and football guru of the Chattahoochee Valley. I'm Rick Jacobson, your host, and here we are, Coach, after 16 months in which we had no shows because we had no 2020 season. Here we are, second straight week. Looking forward to great things and a real good show ahead.
Yeah, I love it. I love being here. Love being part of CTV Beam. I like the new set they have us on. So it's just exciting, and it's kind of get the feeling that football's coming back. You know, having to sit out for 5 or 6 months. That's the first time I've had an arena right. season since 1999.
Yeah, and I recall a few weeks ago when you held open tryouts at Garrett Harrison Stadium. What a terrific feeling to feel somewhat normal.
That was weird. I almost forgot what plays to call and how to run it. It had been so long, but it was fun to get back into it. I had some friends last week that we were kind of reminiscing about the whole process and the whole, I say process, but the journey to get here to this point in not only in my life, but in the Lions franchise. And you look at all the memories and the history, and we're blessed, and I'm glad to be part of it. I'm glad to be back and glad to be back on the show.
And for folks who may not realize it, this is season number 15 for the Columbus Lions. Jason and I met in 2006 when he was still the head coach of a previous team here in Columbus. And it morphed into the founding of the Columbus Lions in the fall of 2006. And in 14 coaching seasons, or I should say 13 coaching seasons and one no season, you've amassed a winning percentage of nearly, it's 647 to be exact.
Is that good?
I think that's awfully good.
Okay.
One of the
Should
best.
Be would you say 647?
Yeah.
Okay, I need 657.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that'll be something in the neighborhood of a 11-3 season. But Jason's been quite successful as a professional head coach. We're lucky to be one of the franchises that has a durable and sustainable head coaching position. How many teams in all of pro football can say?
Not many. There's only like maybe one or two. I know the guy from Sioux Falls. You got to look at maybe Kevin Guy in Arizona, but I'm longer tenured than he is in one franchise. And these guys have coached longer than me, but been lucky to be here. I think that I'm most proud of is the guys that coach with me. You know, of course, you've been in the franchise a long time, but you got to talk about Rayshawn Reed from Russell County High School and Brandon Thomas. Even though Brandon Hall coached me for a while, those guys, operations guys, Alan Mink, Tanima working in the office, Terry. We just got a good core of people that you go to work with every day and have been there. It's not a huge turnover, and that's what makes it. That's what makes the franchise great. And I hear from all the time from coaches across the country. Everybody envies this market. Not necessarily. They see what we have, and when you look at the coaching profession, like a lot of other professions, it's always what's the next job. And I've been lucky enough to be here. I haven't wanted that next job. I always wanted to be in Columbus as long as they'll have me. And so coaches are like, God, have you guys have been in Columbus so long? I wish I could have that. I wish I could have that. Well,
I think you found your lifetime calling here. And I can say to some extent I have too, in the sense that I'm not looking for anywhere else to retire. Here I am in the Medicare system. I've aged not so gracefully, perhaps.
You're right. I agree.
Here we go. As I approach the later 60s and maybe hit age 70, this is, to me, the spot to retire, strengthen our franchise for the future generation. And if you're going to have a legacy, I hope mine is solidifying the Columbus Lions franchise for the middle part of the 21st century.
I agree. We've been lucky, so.
Very, very cool. Well, in any case, we are going to talk some about the 2021 roster today. The first question I wanted to throw at you, because it's such an unprecedented situation, is you signed a full roster that you were about to bring to training camp, and then, now 12 months later, who comes back?
I'll say this. I know 99% true. That roster we signed last year was going to be playing in that championship game. There was just too much talent. That is, the players we had coming in at every position, I felt like this is our year. This is going to be our year. And everybody says that, but I knew last year going into the season we didn't have the strongest roster. I knew that 2 days before training camp. I was still on the phone struggling and calling people, and I knew what we had last year. And it's like having a brand new car or a brand new toy in a package, and you get to look at it and you never open it up, you gotta give it back to the store.
Well, interestingly, it should be noted that the Lions have 3 championships in our 14-year history: 2010, 2015, and 16. Now, that's pretty impressive percentage-wise if you look at, say, Super Bowl champions. But
and we lost 2 of them.
Well,
so we've been in 5 of them.
Oh, you're adding them.
Yeah.
3 on top, 2 on top of 3.
Right. I mean, we've been at is it 5? Yeah, 5 championships.
High percentage.
6.
And I think
Sorry, I forgot about that. Great. It just tells you how many more we keep losing.
But it goes back to 2007 when we were in the 4-team World Indoor Football League. As we just talked about stability of our franchise, think about this. We've competed in 6 different professional leagues.
Well, that comes down to guys like you and our owners. I mean, that's just running, trying to run the business the best we can, and not going, staying within our limits of what we can do. A lot of teams try to. You know what you guys all try to do. So we try to maintain it and keep a good pace. But if we've played 14 seasons and we've been to the championship 6 out of 14, that's a pretty good number. Mm-hmm. And I'll take it.
And I'll say too that I think that arena football is still somewhat in its infancy from the standpoint with a baseball and hockey background as I have.
Right.
Those sports have had 75, 100 years or more to form their bases and their league structures and so forth. So really, arena football was kind of a babe in the woods.
It was, and I don't want to get into a huge conversation outside of, we really want to talk about players and rosters today, but you got to build stability in the teams. I mean, early on, I watched a great video about the early years of the NFL. It was amazing the amount of teams that moved, folded, moved, folded, until it morphed into where it is today, or even where it started to really get to where the AFL and NFL merged. Mm-hmm. I think it was 69 or 70, or I can't remember the year, somebody can correct me. But in the early 30s and 40s, I mean, the map of the NFL changed every year. It was really, and when I saw it, I thought of, okay, that's the NAL. That's exactly what's happening in the arena model. So I'll never see it in my lifetime, probably, because if it's arena's around for 100 years, but hopefully I'll be one of those old school guys that they'll say, remember back in arena football when those old guys, and maybe my name will come up.
And if I'm not mistaken, maybe it was the Chicago Bears that were originally the Decatur Staleys.
Wow, now you're reaching. I think you're right, man. There was a bunch of them. So it's a really good history of the NFL. If anybody hasn't seen that, it'll really give you some in-depth and give you an idea of how hard it is to find franchises and things like that. So.
And for those who, again, may not know, the arena football concept was devised in the early 80s. I read
1987.
Yeah, Jim Foster.
He was at a lacrosse game in New York City at Madison Square Garden, and he still has the envelope that he drew up. Said, I got an idea to do football inside. It was indoor lacrosse or indoor soccer. I think it was lacrosse. To do indoor soccer, to do an indoor football game and make it like a basketball game on turf, up and down the field. And he still walks around that thing. I remember I met Jim in 2000. He has that sucker laminated, and that's his, kind of holy grail of how I invented the game. It was amazing.
Yeah, so. And he was a Midwesterner. What was it, the Quad City Steamrollers?
Yep. So,
in any case, it's the Arena Football League went 30 plus years. Now we've got the National Arena League that we play in. And getting back to your roster, how many of the guys from 2020 will be back with us?
Well, roughly? I'm still working on it. As you look down, as you look at some of the numbers, and I don't want to disrespect any player. So let's make sure that, because I'm not, but off the top of my head, I knew Marvin Ross was a key component. That was a given. We had to get Marvin back. Marvin, to me, is one of the top DBs in arena football. He started in Columbus, went off, had a lot of success in Arena League, came back, had some success in Jacksonville, whooped our butt. Did a great job, and I definitely don't want to play against him. So getting Marvin back was huge. That was priority number one, defensive-wise. And I got lucky enough a chance to talk to Corey Crawford, local kid, Carver High School. Corey had a really successful season in the XFL with the Houston Roughnecks. And, Corey's a great guy to be around, and to watch him and actually be able to be around him. And that kind of started the domino effect of me getting some of these guys back. As you look on the roster, Roman Deloach, wide receiver, which I never got a chance to coach yet. I'm excited to get him here. Come down, Roman's out of Temple. We picked up those guys. I got Fitz Mofer out of UAB, linebacker. Now he's new. And I was actually at Glenwood, and UAB was there recruiting one of the kids. And I said, oh yeah, by the way, I'm the arena coach here in town. What do you have for me?
Good approach.
Why not? I mean, keep marketing. And so he said, I tell you what, I got a linebacker that's undersized, and the NFL is it's going to be tough for him to get in the NFL because he's a little undersized, but he says he's probably one of the best tacklers you've ever seen. Gave him his name, I watched his film, now he's on our roster. So as you look at those guys, and there's some guys from last year's team yet, and that we're still working on. Arthur Hobbs, DB. We signed Lonnie Outlaw.
Heard a lot about him.
Yeah, I'm excited about Lonnie. Receiver core-wise, we go down. Lonnie's 6'7". I love the 6'7", 6'8" wide receivers. We had a lot of success with them, with Goose and with Terrence Ibagwa and Linnell DeWalt. Now I'm really reaching back. But Lonnie comes in with a receiving core. And I haven't brought in a bunch of receivers. I've been very selective this year at receivers. I know what we have. There's only one other one out there that I got to have, and you know who it is, Tristan Purifoy. But
not Bowens Bagante then.
Well, not this. We don't have any room, for us. I got to have Tristan, Paris Mack, DeAndre Brown, Desmond Reese, local, went to Valley High School. Mm-hmm. We signed a young kid out of the last tryout, which I was, usually don't sign a lot of guys out of these tryouts. But we signed Darian Townsend out of Youngstown State.
He was a tryout
yes,
guy.
He was,
Mm-hmm.
and he's one of those guys. And I tell those guys at the tryout, there's hundreds of guys trying out. Everybody's really good. Everybody played college ball. You have to stand out to where every person at the tryout says, who is that guy? He's the best player out here. And I thought Darian did it. I thought he did it enough to be able to come in and compete against the vets we have. So you look at Outlaw, Deloach, Townsend, DeAndre Brown, who's 6'7", Desmond Reese, Paris Mack.
A lot of offense there.
Well, unfortunately, there's too many receivers, and some of those guys aren't going to get on the field because somebody, just not enough room. But I like that. I like that grouping.
Let's get to the question. I'm sure that's on everyone's mind since it's on mine. No, it's an easy one. Our great friend Mason Espinoza had some opportunities. What's his status?
I mean, Mason's got some really good career opportunities for him. He can tell you more about it. I don't, but he's, probably top. One of my all-time favorite players, just for the fact of his skill set. I think he's the best arena quarterback in the country. As far as sitting in the pocket, throwing the ball. But he's got some good career opportunities, and I'm not sure he can pass that up.
Well, do we know what he is going to do, or is he still taking his time?
No, we're still kind of there a little bit. We're still waiting to see how things play out. I would do anything for him, and I'm going to support him no matter what he does. Mm-hmm. We talk all the time about football and in life in general, not just about arena football, which is cool. We have that kind of relationship, and it's fun to coach guys like that. It really is fun to coach guys like that. So.
Smart guy. Did you not say that he was possibly offered the offensive coordinator job?
Yeah, I don't want to get into all what positions were. I know it's a good career opportunity for him that would be tough to pass up. So that's a major piece in the puzzle. But with that being said, still going to bring guys in to try to beat him out. I mean, that's arena football. He knows that. We talk about Pindell from UConn, mm-hmm. David Pindell. I'm excited about David. I've heard a lot of good things. I watched his film. He's more of an athletic type. I think Matthew Foltz is the next Tommy Grady. He's 6'7". He can got a cannon of an arm. He's a big kid. I love Matt. Matt's had some experience. He's had some success. He's been in Columbus.
Doing what?
He's been in Columbus. He came to training camp. He actually came to training camp, and then he had to go back and finish school, so he went back home, but he never came back. And I mean, locally, there's Darren Daniels out there.
That's right. And we're talking about a team that generally carries two quarterbacks and maybe has a third, not to mimic the Denver Broncos situation, but you always have a third emergency type quarterback.
Yeah, but Darren's not an emergency quarterback. Darren's a starter. I mean, Darren to me Darren's a winner, and there's different types of quarterbacks. There's your pure throwers. There's your, different type. Darren's just a winner. And he's athletic, and he's big, and he does things like that. So hopefully, we can get in touch with him. Darren, if you're watching, you need to give me a call.
You've more or less covered the quarterback and receiver positions. How about running back, which we saw such good effort and production from Desmond Reese last year?
Desmond's actually a receiver that moved to running back for certain place selections. Running back-wise, because of arena football, we're just going to put a big old lineman back there and block. I mean, that's really the key. Unless somebody stands out and changes it. When I think of Fitz, I can't remember his name now. played tailback for us a long time ago. Eugene Goodman, you think of the Kendrick Perrys, you think of the Quavon Hicks. Those guys are game-changing type backs that can change your offense based upon what they play. If I find a guy like that, yeah, let's roll with it.
Well, speaking of which, how about Cam Petway, and does he figure in the mix?
And not this year, not for what we're doing. Cam's a great player, obviously. War Eagle, played at Auburn, things like that. But I think we kind of moved on in a different direction from there for just for various reasons.
Excuse me. How about? Are you able to say anything about the kicker position currently?
I mean, we're going to sign Jed Solomon out of Troy, and he finally can play. Last year we signed Jed, and I didn't know. This is funny. I didn't know that Jed had played in another league that season. He had played actually in some other league, and the rule was if you played one snap in another league, you were ineligible to play. I didn't know the rule. Well, I knew the rule. I didn't know Jed played in this other lower level league the week prior. So when we got to Orlando snuck me, pulled the old whoopsie-doo. They luckily did. I didn't forget about it, and I'll return the favor somehow, some way. But right before the game, we got a phone call from the NAL from Commissioner Siegfried saying, "Hey, he's ineligible to play."
Had to play without a
kicker, and it cost us the game.
Yes, it did.
So that was huge. But that's not going to happen this year.
No, we owe Orlando. We got them in a big win back here in Columbus, but on the road, we owe them one for sure.
Yep, definitely.
Mostly, that covers the offense. Why don't we take our first little break, come back and do a defensive carryover?
Sure.
Okay, folks, we'll be back with Roar Time in just a minute here. Give Coach a chance to catch his breath. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. J. My back feels so much better. Now tell me where I can go for my headaches.
Really? You don't need to go anywhere else. That's what we do.
Well, what about my shoulder?
That's what we do.
Pinched nerve?
That's what we do.
Well, what about disc problems?
That's what we do.
Sciatica?
With almost 500,000 patient visits over the last 34 years, don't just take my word for it. Ask a friend.
Call Dr. J. Broadwin and Associates today.
We're back with this week's edition of Roar Time, the Columbus Lions Coaches Show. Rick Jacobson here with Jason Gibson. We've more or less covered your forte, the offense, and we're going to shift over to the defense. Heard some things about a big, strong, quick defensive line.
Yeah, if you look at our roster, I don't think I've signed anything else but a defensive lineman. And we got maybe 7 or 8 signed, which is unusual. We did lose, Ulrich Jones, which I love Ulrich. He, at the University of South Carolina, he played for us 2 years ago, but he re-signed with the CFL. Congratulations to him. I'm so excited.
Which franchise?
BC Lions.
Okay.
So he'll be up there playing. But we picked up some really good players. I think Kevin Thompson, as I go down, Quan Alford, and of course Corey Crawford. Joe Sanders is coming back out of Illinois State. I just felt that was a priority. I wanted to get the best athletes with pure speed. I got a couple guys that are going to push the pile, but I wanted dudes that could just come off the edge with speed and get after it. And I like where we're at defensive end. Maybe one of the better groups on paper that I've seen in a while in Columbus. So that's the starting point.
Moving now to the linebacker position. Who have you got in mind for that?
We talked about Mo Ford. I've got Greg Jones. Lenroy Naismith, who's a veteran, played at Lehigh Valley. Lenroy's pretty good. I may play DeAndre Brown there a little bit. Use the size, 6'7", takes up space in arena, and arena's all about space and angles. And we'll see. I got a couple other guys we're looking at linebacker, but that's kind of a wide open position. That's going to be the wild card spot this year. Who's going to take over that max spot?
And your 3 regular D-backs?
Well, you talk about Maurice Leggett. Maurice played for the Albany Empire last year. He was defensive MVP. Has an interception in the NFL, an interception in the CFL, an interception in the AFL. And he's as good as there is. You add that with Marvin Ross. We signed a young rookie this year I'm excited about named Jawanza Adams. Maybe forgetting some DBs so you guys don't get mad at me. And then, again, I need to get a hold of Arthur Hobbs and figure out what he's doing. And so, DB-wise, I got some young rookies coupled with a couple really good vets. Hey, man, it starts with that D-line. And it kind of works hand in hand. If I got really good DBs, veteran-wise, which we do, the D-line doesn't have to be as good because they can cover longer.
Right.
If the DBs are really bad, the D-line better be exceptional because they can't cover as long. Mm-hmm. And so it works hand in hand. Now, if you get a rare combination where you have both, watch out. And even though an offensive guy and arena is an offensive game, the defense wins championships. It always does.
Sure, and I look forward to the discussion we have a little later, not this show necessarily, in the role of the Mac and the Jack linebackers, how often they would contribute to pressuring the quarterback versus dropping back with the D-backs on coverage. Now, a new segment that you care to introduce that looks something I look forward to is to recognize two of our fine, loyal,
good thing we limited it to 2, right?
Yeah, we have some fabulous sponsors, advertisers.
It's hard to pick. When I think of over time, I was going through all my my documents the other day trying to look at sponsors, and I looked at all the people we've met with and worked with over time. But, for me today, we're going to talk about Little Caesars, Mike Osmond. The store I visit the most is up there on Stadium Drive next to Garrett Harrison Stadium. I can't tell me countless times a week I get a phone call from my wife, hey, I already called it in. Go by and get a hot and ready. I'm like, oh my gosh, Little Caesars again, because we eat it so much every week. But Mike is he's great for our community. Little Caesars is great for our community. He does a really good job. He does a lot of stuff with the schools. He does a lot of spirit nights. He gives back. He has a great product. He supports us. He supports this area better than anybody that I know. And he's got a young kid. Cooper, if you're watching, I need you to play football at Glenwood next year. But just a great sponsor.
Mike, by the way, I also frequent the same store. We don't live too far apart. And I complimented him on how great his Stadium Drive staff always seems to be.
Yeah, they do, don't they? They're always first class. They almost kind of know you. They do know you by name because I come in so much.
Mike's going to help us, by the way, on 2 of our Christmas fundraising projects to help the Angel Tree program.
And he does 2 really good promotions. We do a great halftime promotion where you have to throw the pizza boxes in the back of the Little Caesars car. And then also I noticed I was in the office, we do player cards to kids. We do 3-player packs. So every time they come to the game, they can pick up 3 new players. And that was sponsored by Little Caesars. So he kind of helped puts that on. So, he does a lot of stuff for the community, for the youth. So that's my guy. That's my sponsor for the week. Who you got?
Great. Well, one last little comment. I can't say enough about how good Mike is having his staff at the games greeting the fans as they come in.
I like their mascot, too. That guy's kind of freaky looking.
I guess it's Little Caesar. But I'm going to get props out to Frank Winship and the good folks at Sprague Supply, Inc., who is our area Napa parts dealer. It's not just auto parts, it's just Napa parts for trucks and auto vehicles. And they have been, the way they distribute in Auburn, Columbus, and Phoenix City, fabulous longtime sponsors, particularly of this show. Frank and his crew, Glenn Bowers and company, are small business people in a small market that do big things. And I would say to you, he's one of the purchasers of our new floor level suites that we're going to have so much fun with.
He is going to have a great time in those suites.
He knows it too.
Yeah, that furniture is nice. He's got I've already seen it, Frank. You got your logo on the seats, on the tables, in the food, and the beer and the wine. It's going to be a good spot. Now, so I'm excited for him. He deserves it. And where's he located?
Well, he's on Highway 280 bypass, and I brought over a chair. I couldn't fit the table in the car, so the high top tables that'll be the buffet spot to eat in your suites. But I took a photo of that from our office, and I brought him the chair, and he loved every bit of it. And
good.
Frank's just been good people at Sprague Supply.
Well, I just want to say, good. Again, thanks, Frank, and thanks, Mike, for what you guys do for the community, being part of the Columbus Lions. I can't thank you enough, and just make sure everybody's watching. You get out and you support these guys just as we do, and they support us.
Great. Well said. And folks, with that, we're going to take our second break. When we come back, some new features to RoarTime.
Pogo, pogo, pogo. My wife will know what I'm talking about. Seen a few.
I'm used to hearing him say BOGO, but we'll be right back.
Imagine a life-changing injury. Imagine the fear and unknown. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team, the only physicians in the area with advanced certification in orthopedic sports medicine, treats sports injuries with innovative techniques. The Houston Clinic has helped nearly 1 million athletes live without pain. Imagine getting back in the game. Imagine the best game of your life. The Houston Clinic Sports Medicine Team.
Hey, welcome back, Lions Nation. This is a new segment this year we're going to try to do and really give you an in-depth perspective of what plays we call, why we call them, what you're looking at. I think it'll make the game more exciting. Now, what we're going to talk about today on the screen is a play that every coach runs. It's called POGO. POGO is an acronym that we use, meaning post and then go, and that usually tells, obviously, like I said, one receiver's running the post, one guy's running the go route. It's an easy read, it's an easy play. Everybody's been running it since the inception of arena football. And again, like I said, it's a staple play. Everybody teaches it a little bit different, but at the end of the day, it comes down to athletes. Is my athlete better than yours? But what we'll start out here on the screen is a basic 2x1 set as we took at the top. As we play this a little bit, coming in motion, this was 2016 with, go ahead and pause it. This is 2016 team at Jacksonville. This is Goose running the play. So first thing we're looking at here is at the top of the screen. Well, I'm learning this. We're going to run a go route with the outside receiver. This is a very simple play. That's the first part. That's the go and the POGO. And what we're trying to do is this. It's just one-on-one coverage. It's a pre-snap read. As soon as the quarterback gets the ball and steps back, he already knows if he's throwing that go route or not, or at least the way we teach it. All right? But once he gets past the pre-snap read, what we're really looking at, we're looking at this guy right here. That's the whole read. We got a post route from Goose coming. He's going to run a high post route across the screen, and then we're going to read this guy right there. All right? It's real simple. If he backpedals at all, okay, on the route, we're going to come back down to this guy. He's going to come up the field, settle, and then run a dig across the middle of the field. So it's real simple. So as we play this real slow, just kind of watch what he does, and I'll kind of walk you through it as we look at it. All right, go ahead and pause it. Stop. So you can see him starting to bail. That's an automatic indicator for the quarterback. Okay, simple enough. I'm going to hit my fifth step. I'm throwing the dig route. That's basically the concept. As you look at the receiver up on the post route, he's going to carry the safety across the field. But the safety technically in arena football shouldn't be able to cover a receiver in full speed motion running a post route. He's going to have help from the corner, and that's what they did. Jacksonville did a good job right here disguising the coverage, and then if you look at the Jack linebacker, he kind of comes underneath here a little bit, so we can't just dump the ball down to the outside receiver, but he's got a dig route to come back underneath it. That's your POGO concept. You can run it out of 2x1, 3x0, doesn't matter. It'll be the first play we install on the first day of training camp, just like everybody else. It's just a matter of, can I find the Jims and Joes? It's never really about the X's and O's, but I'm looking forward to doing this every week. We'll break down a different play, and look forward to hearing about your comments. So thanks for watching, and we'll be right back after the break.
It's Love Your Car Month at Napa.
I love a good filter.
And whether you live under the hood,
Horsepower.
or have never popped the hood,
Door power.
your car deserves some love. That's why all month long, we've got great deals for your vehicle. Because when it comes to caring for your car, all you need is Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
We're back with Roar Time, the Columbus Lions coaches show. And Jason, that was some interesting information I just saw. This is going to be fun for you, the analysis
Well, I
every
hope I don't
week.
give away too much stuff throughout the season, but it just makes it more interesting to watch. Even like hockey, every time they do an icing call, most people don't know what icing is. But if you understand the rule, it makes it a little more interesting to watch. So I'm hoping that last segment does that for everybody. And each week we'll do something different, break down some film here or there, and kind of give you some insights. So I'm looking forward to it all year. It'll be fun.
And how can the fans get in touch with us with questions they may have for future shows?
All through our social media. We got a brand new website out, which is very fan interactive with all the stats, player stats as the season gets going forward. Make sure you check it out at www.columbuslions.net. Go to our Facebook page, Columbus Lions. All those tabs are on our website. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Send us a message. Send us your question. Ask a question. I'll describe a play, whatever they want to do. So get on that, and I look forward to hearing from everybody.
All right. Well, this is a great new feature that we're going to enjoy here on Roar Time. And folks, thank you very much for watching preseason edition number 2. We look forward to being with you most of the off season, of course, throughout the season. Hope you enjoyed today's Roar Time. Again, Rick Jacobson with Jason Gibson saying good night and thank you for your time.
Go Lions.